So now we are going to learn about what is oxidation and what is reduction based on the loss and gain of electrons. In the previous video we have learned that oxidation means loss of electrons and reduction means gain of electrons. So oxidation can also mean a lot of other things, like depending upon the addition or reduction in oxygen, hydrogen, all this. But for the concept of our chapter for electrolysis, we just require to understand the loss and gain of electrons. So oxidation means loss of electrons and reduction means gain of electrons. So I would urge you all to please write down the equations along with me while I would be teaching, so that it goes into your mind in a much easier and seamless way. So there are four set of equations, as we can see. Sometimes ions are converting into atoms, or sometimes atoms are converting into ions, and in the last one an ion is converting into another ion. So how do we understand whether it is oxidation or whether it is reduction? So as you can see in the first question itself, zinc atom is converting into Zn2 plus. That means zinc is converting into a cation, into a positive ion. When does a positive ion form? When there is loss of electrons, isn't it? So how many loss of electrons are there? How many electrons are lost? The power on the ion is Zn2 plus. That means 2 electrons are lost. Since from an atom, when 2 electrons are lost, it will gain a positive charge. So on top of zinc ion, we have written Zn2 plus. So how many electrons have been lost? 2 electrons. So from zinc, if we remove 2 electrons, we are getting Zn2 plus. So as you can see, there is a loss of electrons, so it is oxidation. Coming to the next one, sodium atom is converting into sodium ion. By how many loss of electrons? By a single loss of electron, because see, the power is only plus. Plus means only a single electron has been lost. So since again there is a loss of electron here, so it will be termed as oxidation. Next coming, we have S2 minus. It is a anion. Anion is converting into an atom. How does it happen? We have a negatively charged particle. It is converting into an anion. How does it happen? When does an anion form? When there is extra electrons in it, when it gains electrons, isn't it? That means S2 minus has extra electrons. How many extra electrons it has? 2 extra electrons it has. So in order to convert into an atom, it has to lose these 2 extra electrons, because in the atom there is no power in the form of any negative or positive sign. There is no charge, isn't it? So sulfur ion S2 minus has to lose 2 electrons in order to form S. So again we see there is loss of electrons. So loss of electrons means oxidation, and hence this reaction is also oxidation. The last one, Fe2 plus gives Fe3 plus. Initially Fe was short of 2 electrons. Now Fe is short of 3 electrons. Initially Fe had 2 electrons less, and now Fe has 3 electrons less. How can it be done? If from Fe2 plus we remove 1 electron, if we remove another electron, so there will be an excess of protons in it. As a result, its charge will also increase. So Fe2 plus, after the loss of 1 electron, it is becoming Fe3 plus. So initially it had 2 electrons less. Now it has 3 electrons less. How? 1 electron has been removed once again. So since in all the above questions we see that there is a loss of electron. So loss of electron means oxidation. So all these reactions are oxidation in nature. Now we have another topic called oxidizing agent. So what is an oxidizing agent and what is a reducing agent we will learn, but after learning about reduction. Let's see what is reduction. As I told you in the previous video also, reduction is the gain of electrons. Electrons will be gained by the reactant. Okay, always consider it with respect to the left hand side of the reaction, not with the right hand side. So let's see the first question. Copper ion Cu2 plus has converted itself into Cu. That means initially it had 2 electrons less in it. As a result, it was positively charged. It had 2 electrons less. Now it is completely neutral. It has all the set of electrons. So how many electrons have to be added in order to do this? It had 2 electrons less. So 2 electrons have to be added obviously in order to make it neutral. So see, there is a gain of electron. So it is reduction. Next, Fe3 plus is now converting into Fe2 plus. Fe3 plus, that means 3 electrons are less in it. In order to become neutral, it requires 3 electrons. but it has not got 3 electrons. It is converting into Fe2+. Initially it had 3 electrons less, but now it has 2 electrons less. So how many electrons has it taken? Definitely 1 electron it has taken. So 1 electron. As a result, it is also reduction. Acceptance of electron or gaining of electron. See, plus electron. That means we are adding 1 electron to it in order to convert it into Fe2+. Next we have Sn2+. It is also converting into Sn, just like the first case. Initially there were 2 electrons less. In the next phase it has no electron less. That means obviously 2 electrons have been added to it in order to make it neutral. So 2 electrons have been added. This is also reduction. Next one, sulfur is converting into sulfide ion. S is converting to S2-. That means 2 electron, initially it had no shortage or it had no excess of electrons, but now it has an excess of electron. How can an atom have an excess of electron? If it is given electron, if electrons are added to it. So if we add 2 electrons, we are getting Se2-. So over here also we see there is an addition of electron, so it is also reduction. Now what is oxidizing agent and what is reducing agent? Oxidizing agents are the agents or the substances which deliberately remove an electron from any other substance. For example, if there are two substances X and Y is removing an electron from X deliberately. So Y will be called an oxidizing agent. It will oxidize, it will remove the electron. It will help in the removal of electron. But what are reducing agents? They will provide electrons, they will give electrons, they will donate electrons. Okay, again if we have X and Y with us, Y is giving electrons to X. So Y will be a reducing agent because Y is helping X to gain electrons. That's why Y is a reducing agent. There are certain examples given in the book itself. For liquids you have to remember 2. You can underline it whichever I am saying because these are the easiest ones. For gas you have to remember 2 and for solids you have to remember 2. So oxidizing agent, solid, there are the most common ones are magnesium dioxide and red lead which is reddish. Next for liquid we have H2O2 or hydrogen peroxide and concentrated HNO3, concentrated nitric acid. And for gas we have ozone and oxygen. These are oxidizing agent. They remove electrons from the other substance. Now coming to reducing agents, for solids we have carbon and certain metals such as zinc, aluminium, etc. For liquids we have again hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is both an oxidizing and a reducing agent. This is another important question which can be asked. HBr, hydrogen bromide. This is also a good reducing agent. And in case of gas we have hydrogen sulfide and carbon monoxide. So these few examples you have to remember because questions might be asked from here. So whatever I have explained in this video, hopefully you have all written it down in your copy because it will help you to understand better and it will also make a sort of a note for you so that you don't have to open the book again and again. The next topics of electrolysis we will learn in the third part of this video.